Our town, our TV. Amherst City Cable.
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Vasilk, and welcome to Your Choice, Your Voice. Tonight, my special guest is Lorain County Commissioner Tom Williams, who's our very own Amherst Tom Williams, also known as the watchdog of the County Commission. But before we talk about the County Commission, I want to tell you, I've been seeing a lot of little kids wearing T-shirts with your name on them.
Yeah, and they're not campaign shirts.
They're not campaign shirts. You must have sponsored what, at least 2 or 3 teams? How many teams have you been sponsoring?
Well, for Amherst, 8 teams.
8 Amherst teams you've sponsored. Yeah. These are Little League and
baseball, softball. It's from the little kids all the way up to the bigger kids.
Boys and girls?
Boys and girls. I think most people see me out on the baseball fields. I got a good tan because of the
I see
being
that.
out there, and I'm proud to coach the Amherst Muck Dogs this year.
Now, would that have anything to do with your son?
Yes, my son Trent, he's 9, and he's in soccer, baseball. He wants to play football this year. My daughter is playing for a travel team now in softball, so she plays softball, travel, softball, soccer, actually does soccer year-round. And I wanted to give back to the community. I love the sport, baseball. I played in high school. I actually had opportunity to play in college, but I decided to go to the Air Force instead. And I just love the game of baseball, and I wanted to make sure they had enough money in order to fund the teams and make sure our youth are enjoying the sport. So,
well, it really sounds like you're giving back a lot to Amherst, and I thank you on behalf of everybody in Amherst.
You know, I actually get more out of it than I give. I had a couple kids that came on my team, never played a game of baseball in their life. One kid never even picked up a bat, could barely throw the ball a few feet. He's actually making the all-star team.
Oh, really?
Because of the work that he's put in, the coaching that all the coaches on the team have done, and listens, hustles, everything that you want to see in the youth, he's been doing it, and all our boys have. It's just unfortunate that we're only allowed to pick 5 kids to be on the all-star team. So
it sounds like you've got a lot of all-stars.
We do, and good parents. Good parents make good players, so
absolutely.
I have to give kudos to all the parents.
Well, good. Well, let's talk about the County Commission.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot in the paper about the Justice Center and judges. Can you tell everybody about what's that all about?
Well, you're talking about, and we have the Justice Center, which is the newer building where the judges are at, and then we have the old courthouse, and that's where our adult probation is held.
But that's somehow related to the judges, though.
Right, the judges oversee it, and the conditions at the old courthouse aren't great. And the people need to be moved out of that and into a different facility.
Well, I heard that some of this stuff was literally crumbling apart. Is that true?
There is. People that have to use the handicap ramp have gotten stuck in there. It's an old building. It was built in the late 1800s. Maintenance hasn't been done on the building, and it's just in disrepair. To go through, do a true renovation, to bring it up to today's standards, office standards, about $10 to $15 million to do it. And what's really sad is back in, I believe it was 2004, before the Justice Center was built, the city of Elyria wanted to purchase that building and go through and make that their new courthouse.
Well, sure.
And then put City Hall there. And they were going to extend it to the south part of the green area. And former Commissioner Betty Blair stopped it because she wanted to save a 100-year-old tree. And because of that, we haven't been able to get the revenue in there, and just it's been deteriorating. And now we're at a point where we have to decide, do we want to put $15 million into a building to renovate it? Or do we go over to the new Justice Center and spend, as far as the county money, $900,000 to renovate that for the adult probation and have everybody under one roof, make it a true hall of justice, and not have to worry about duplicating services like security that you would have to in the old courthouse. The judges would like to move it into the newer facility. I actually agree with the judges because it makes the most sense for long-term space for the county, and overall it's going to be the lower cost of it.
Let me make sure I understand this right, kind of backing up.
Okay.
We have a 135-year-old courthouse,
Right.
and which is deteriorating.
Yes.
And we had 10 years ago, the city of Elyria, when it was still in good condition,
Better condition.
better condition, because it had been maintained,
Right.
wanted to purchase it and build it up. And a 100-year-old tree was the reason why one county commissioner held up that deal. And now we have, is this on the National Registry of Historic
It is.
Places? And so we've got something on the National Register of Historic Places that hasn't been maintained, all for the sake of a 100-year-old tree. Don't tell me it was an ash tree and it died anyway.
No, the tree is still
Okay.
there, but you know, I guess if I was commissioner back then, I may have went out there with a chainsaw myself to get this done, because you would have preserved the building and we could have kept that historic landmark. Now it's just millions of dollars that needs to be, it's going to take to renovate it.
Wow.
And we don't have it. The city of Elyria could have used it. We wouldn't have built another new courthouse in downtown Elyria. It's just sad that that's what held it up. But people need to know this. Why wasn't it maintained? Poor decisions, you know, 10 years ago are coming back, and now I'm looking at ways to how to manage it and doing it in a way where we're not raising taxes and we're not wasting money.
Well, speaking of revenue, you've been trying to recruit more tax-paying entities into our community, more different kind of revenue streams.
Right.
Industry and farming activities. You were trying to recruit a poultry farm into Lorain County.
Yeah, not Amherst.
Right.
I just want to go on the record, not Amherst.
Yeah, it's a little sensitive issue there.
Right.
What happened to that?
Well, it's still in play. Believe it or not, I've actually been criticized by my opponent. I think most people know I'm running for re-election this year. And my opponent made a comment in a debate, our first debate, that we don't need those type of jobs here. We need more government jobs, which farming is actually our #1 industry in Lorain County. But the reason I'm going after this company is it could create 100 jobs.
100 jobs?
100 jobs.
This isn't just a poultry farm, is it a poultry processing facility too?
It would be, yes, a farm and processing.
So
Now, with this, what you have is for eggs.
oh, okay.
Okay. The biggest problem that you have with the poultry farm is the waste. So there's another company I'm going after. It's called Enviro. They're out of Toledo. And we're looking at putting them out by the airport. Now, what most people don't know is the Lorain County has an industrial parkway. It's at the airport.
Ah,
It's been there for 25 years, and they never utilized it.
you mean there aren't any industries there?
There's no industries there. So I'm trying to actually bring an industry here to that parkway, which would help offset some of the costs of the airport, which we're required to pay by the FAA. And if we can get that, they take sewer sludge, which we have a plant here in Amherst,
Sure.
and they can turn it into either a soil enhancer, or they can turn it into a pellet, and then they can burn it. and it acts as a substitute for coal. Doesn't replace it, but they can burn it in order to heat it up before they put the coal in there.
Okay.
So different things that kind of intertwine, but the poultry farm, if we can get Enviro in here, and then we can get the poultry farm, they're going to be in the southern part of the counties.
So they would work together.
They would work together, and we're going to work with the township trustees to make sure that we have everything set up. Because when you get into a farm, you have buildings there because of the weather, the climate, and you can do a zero pressure on there, so you're not getting the smell as well.
Yeah, well, great. Well, thank you very much, Tom, for coming to the show today, and I appreciate the information you've shared with us. This is Jennifer Vasilk, and you've been watching Your Choice, Your Voice, and my special guest tonight has been Amherst's very own Lorain County Commissioner Tom Williams. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you.
Serving Amherst and Amherst Township, your hometown television station, Amherst City Cable.